Hey, welcome to your go-to show for health and wellness. This is actually take two. On take one, I did not remember the name of the show. So I'm just, putting it out there. I'm Jonathan Fisher.
I'm Aiden Seraphim.
And our topic today is... what?
Mindfulness.
Mindfulness. What is that? Should we try to tackle it?
Well, I thought you were going to start.
Well, okay, I will talk about what I think it is.
Yeah. And
then you'll say what you think it is. And we had a bit of a disagreement, and we'll see if we've resolved it, or I don't think we have, or not. Anyway, okay. So to me, and there is an app for it, which I did do an app for meditation, so it makes me an expert. It doesn't really, I guess. But anyway, so this is the difference that I have for meditation versus mindfulness. Are you ready? Okay, for me, meditation is an internal state. So whatever you're going to do, usually you're sitting down and you're going internal, you're focusing on one thing. Maybe it's your breath, maybe it's a mantra, maybe it's a candle or whatever, with the goal of eventually clearing all thought. Now, that probably won't happen. That's why it's a meditation practice. But it's a focusing on one thing. It's more of an internal state. Okay? Whereas mindfulness is being aware of the mind, so it's a more external active state. So even if it's sitting there, you might be having your eyes open and you're observing the world around you, or the classic one, as we talked about as well, is washing dishes. So you're mindfully washing dishes. You're present in the moment. So if you're mindful, you're in the moment, but you're not judging. You're not putting labels on things. You're just being in that moment. You're not thinking about, 5 seconds ago or even 5 seconds in the future. Be here now, as what's his name said.
Ram Dass.
Yep, his book, yeah. So that would be the difference to me. Meditation, now yes, they have mindful meditation, but to me, these are just, like, people just came up with stuff.
Isn't that what you're doing right now?
Yes. All right, so, and then hypnosis, well, I did that definition before as well on my hypnosis interview, where to me hypnosis is an internal state, although it could be, but the way I do it is an internal state where they're focusing on one goal. Usually it's guided by someone like myself to accomplish something. So it's similar to meditation, but a little bit different. So what do you think is the difference, or is there a difference?
See, I kind of am of the school of thought that there's not really a difference, and that they both have a very similar, that's my new word of the day.
Similar, what is
it?
Similar?
Purpose.
Okay.
And that is, in my experience, to bring us present with ourselves, with what is happening in the moment.
Okay.
And as far as like meditation goes, you have all sorts of different types of meditation, right?
So they claim
meditation where you close your eyes. You have meditation where you keep your eyes open.
Okay.
So I feel like there's not really such a clear-cut line between one being an inner experience and one being an outer experience. I think that they are both a practice of learning how to live balanced within both of those.
There you have it. So what we've gathered here, what you can walk away with as far as what the difference between meditation and mindfulness, and I think this is clear now, is, well, we don't know.
I agree.
We don't know. Nobody really knows. And it doesn't really matter. It doesn't matter what you call it, because doing either one will have positive effects.
Absolutely.
So, but how do you do them? We're focusing on mindful. So how do you be mindful? What is that? What can we agree on that mindful is?
Well, I like to always think about it like this. So when I work with people, most of the time when you talk about meditation, it kind of gets a response from a lot of people that automatically they think, oh, I can't meditate, this is too hard. I'm a terrible meditator, all of these things that people think, because they think that meditation is only about stopping your mind from having any thoughts. And That's really, in my opinion, not what it's about at all. But so what I always like to tell people is, like we've all agreed that you should brush your teeth every day, right?
Well, traditionally that's what's been said, yes.
And probably floss.
Okay.
Right? And so, like, why do we do these things?
Because we want to control our breath. Did I get it?
No, that's why you brush your teeth every day, dude?
No, I don't know. I was trying to go with the breath and the tie-in with the meditation and mindful thing.
No, we do all of this so that we can have good oral hygiene.
Oh, I see.
Right? Because we want our teeth to be around for a little while.
Yeah.
Right? We want our gums to be healthy.
Uh-huh.
Well, I always like to tell people,
shoot,
it's the same thing with breath awareness. And breath awareness is the first step of meditation, of most meditations. And so with a daily practice of breath awareness, it's very much like brushing our teeth, but for our emotional body and our mental health. And so I think that, starting off just by being conscious of your breath and maybe taking a few conscious breaths at a time, really being present with them. Maybe you need to put your hand on your lower belly so that you can get that nice, deep, fully expanded diaphragmatic breath, which there's a lot of research that shows that it really helps our physiology.
Right.
So I think it's like you can take people through a step-by-step process and to a place where then creating a meditation practice becomes more approachable, maybe.
Yeah, and I love a number of things there. And one, you're talking about you can consciously focus on your breath. Well, that's interesting because breathing is an unconscious act. And in fact, it's a great example of an unconscious act that we can consciously control in a way to affect our reality, affect our health, affect a number of things. I love that you were saying that the ultimate goal isn't clearing your thoughts. This can be daunting for people. And people can have that, like, oh, meditation isn't right for me. Or they could hear all you do is sit down and clear your mind of thoughts. If they have no experience, they're like, well, that sounds easy. And they get down there, it's like, well, I can't do it after 1 minute. It's like, that's why it's a meditation practice, because it takes years. And the goal, although maybe some distant goal might be to clear thoughts, but it may never happen. And yet you'll reap the benefits within the first 30 seconds. In fact, on the app that I did, I always talk about however the 20-minute session goes for meditation, I always tell them at the end, great job. So if they lost their focus, and I usually had them focus on something 1,000 times in 20 minutes, good job.
Right.
Because you return to focus. And that return to focus, one could apply to everything in our life in general, but often deepens the state. And you're just like, great job, because you're reaping these benefits of the breathing, of the clearing of mind, of the not judging our thoughts, of just being in that moment, whether or not you can focus or not focus, or just, as you say, or as we were talking about the idea of it's a stream of thoughts coming. Right. And just like, do you swim over to the bank and just observe the stream go by once in a while? Do you jump in once in a while and flow with the stream? You can make those choices.
Well, most of us are not consciously making those choices,
right?
Because we are drowning in the middle of the river of our thoughts, being carried every direction,
not even knowing it's a river, not even seeing the river.
Right?
Yep.
So the reason that I like to start with it as simply as just taking 3 conscious breaths is because there's actually been a lot of research that shows that, doing 5 minutes of meditation every single day is more effective than sitting down and doing 1 or 2 20-minute meditation sessions a week, right? And so we have to start with people where they're at. I personally do a 20-minute meditation every day, but I didn't start off that way,
right?
And so if you can just begin by and I always like to do it first thing in the morning, because by the time you get up and into your day, things start to drag you away, and then you have all the excuses that come up to why you don't have any time for it. So the first thing in the morning when you wake up, to just sit down for 5 minutes and tune into your breath, being aware of your breath and your body together. It's quite transformative, in my opinion.
I feel better already. I love the idea as well of doing it in the morning. One, because you get it done, you start your day off right, and for me personally, from where I'm coming from as far as what I'm doing, you're still in that sort of just awakened mode where your sort of dreams sort of awake, and you can capitalize on that by adding the breathing and adding this meditation to your day. I think it's a wonderful thing to add, and yeah, make it simple and do the 5 minutes. So maybe that's the takeaway is as we wrap this up.
Well, there is that saying, what is the best exercise to do? Have you ever heard that saying?
No.
It's the one that you will do.
Hey, there you go.
Right? So,
what's the best meditation? The one that you're willing to do.
The one that you're willing to do. So
do 1 minute a day.
Exactly.
And you can say, well, I'm a meditator. I meditate. And you do 1 minute. Nobody needs to know, right?
I mean, I think that anything that you do that connects you with your internal landscape is going to be positive, whether that's 30 seconds or 3 hours.
Right. And then when going back to the idea of mindfulness, not just meditation, what I like to do is be mindful throughout the day. It's like sort of noting it in the back of my mind when I'm doing several different things. Just am I projecting things onto this? Am I judging this situation? Because you could note something without labeling it, like there's a table, as opposed to there's that stupid table that I want to get rid of.
Right.
That would be different, right? There's that plant. There's the horrible plant that was given to me as a re-gifting thing last Christmas that well, that would be different than just noting it.
One of the strengths and the powers of mindfulness is that it helps us become aware of the underlying stories that we're telling ourselves that are not true or helpful.
Yeah, so just being in the moment, not judging things, not labeling things, allowing things just to be. And I would say sometimes that's why the sort of the Eastern gurus have that little smile on their face, because they notice the absurdity of things, and that we are just projecting our reality onto everything we see, and it doesn't have to be that way. So,
and this is one of the reasons that I love meditation so much, is that you can take it as little or as far as you want to. And in my experience, meditation is a way for us to connect with this extraordinary wealth of abundance that we have within ourselves. Mm-hmm. We have the answers to, and like you mentioned before we started this, the God within us, right? Like, it's all here, but we are trained by our culture to seek all of it out there, right? So in that process of seeking all of it out there, and right now we're getting ready to go into a major period of time that's focused about that, the materialism of Christmas.
Right.
It's like when the awareness is always looking out there for what the answer is, then we are always going to be disconnected from ourselves. We always are going to be longing and needing more. Well,
and that is the difference. And I think I spoke about this as well with respect to hypnosis, where in our normal lives we're in sort of the beta frequencies and external, and we're talking whatever, and we're wrapped up in believing that culture is reality, that society is reality, that this agreed upon thing is the way things are, and buying more and presents and whatever, that's it. But when you go inside and you just slow things down, you get into that meditative state, then internal ideas, the internal reality becomes the real reality. And we connect to that bigger aspect of ourselves. And it's like, oh, there are different answers here.
Exactly. I mean, just really quickly, I did a 10-day Vipassana meditation retreat, which is, where you spend 10 days in silence and you're sitting for like 8 hours a day, 8 to 12 hours a day in meditation. And it's super like hardcore sort of experience. And in that experience, by like, I think the 5th or 6th day, you realize that everything that you worry about and think about and are absorbed in for most of your life actually doesn't mean anything. Right. Like, because I was in this state, in this space, and like really none of that like really was real any longer, right?
Yep.
And so then the hard part, and this is where I struggle, is like, so we can be in that state, which is that complete expansive state that we're talking about, which is, free of thought. I don't think that it is void of thought, but I think it's
Right.
free of it. But then how do you do that and also be in the world? Maybe that can be our next topic.
Tune in next time to, what is the topic going to be?
How
I
can
like
you
it.
be in a meditative, connected state and still be in the world?
So for now, practice the things we're talking about. And next time, how can you be in that state and also be in the world?
Mm-hmm.
Tune in next time. All right.
Bye-bye.
Have a good week.